This was my white belt self getting into my very first jiu-jitsu competition. They totally didn't put me with gray belts and green belts for my first competition. And this is my opponent Connor, as we are about to have a showdown in this shitty little hotel. Not to mention I was also very bedridden before and was out of training for a week. I quickly decide that I don't know how to do jiu-jitsu. The ref clearly doesn't have eyes and didn't see the jump guard there. As I was thinking, just going straight forward into Connor would get me out of this guard. As if right now I'm fighting for my life, trying not to tap to this collar choke. I don't know why I wasn't defending or doing anything proper, probably because I was a white belt and did not know what to do. As I'm still thinking going right through him will get me out of this guard, I was not sure what to do. As soon as Connor was getting coached and I heard him say loop choke, I had no clue what that was, and I was just setting myself up for failure here. Trying to break his guard and do very poorly with it, I tried to stand up and then just go back down on my knees. As Connor's coach, seemingly to be a 10-year-old, is telling him to go for my back, which Connor does manage to actually go for that, and I said no man can take my back, so instead I gave him mount. As you can see, I framed up on his hip, but that wasn't going to work. I was showing Connor the true spazzy white belt I am by kicking my legs and squirming. I ended up squirming so far I ended up getting off the mat and we had to recenter. At this point, I just knew he had it out for me and wanted to kill me. After getting recentered, I am still thinking, still managing to put 0 points on the scoreboard. This isn't looking too good for me. The worst part about this is I could still feel the phlegm in my lungs from being bedridden. But little did Connor know, I actually had a whole game plan up my sleeve here, which was just planning to squirm until I get out of this mount. I'm not even sure how I had those 2 stripes on my white belt, because they certainly weren't there when I needed them. I cut down some of the video here, and yes, I did squirm all the way off the mat, and then I eventually get pulled into an armbar. As Connor fell off the mat, this gave him some extra leverage on the armbar, making sure my arms were not made of titanium, and then I was forced to tap. I'm not one to always brag about my wins, so here we are recording our losses. And after losing, you may feel down in the dumps, but just remember that you showed up and you still competed. As this next match starts, I already know what's going through my head. I don't know how to pull guard, but I knew how to jump guard. And then we had to stop the match. Here we are getting yelled at by the referee. This ref must have had sand in her eyes because apparently last match I jumped guard. I quickly told her that I did not jump guard and she told me I did, which I never did at all. After enough convincing, she let us start the match again and fight. Watching these old matches really make me cringe because I didn't even know how to pull guard at the time. As my opponent Aaron decides to keep turning into me and trying to take my back, I have no clue what to do, so I end up showing him a lazy guard pull. Literally going on my knee, probably getting a disadvantage as well. After showing a sick man's guard play, he does actually pass my guard. I could feel all of this mini Pekka's weight, and he started crushing me down. After what this green belt shows to be a fake mount and goes back to side control, I'm still stuck underneath this boulder. My opponent was actually really strong, so I just try to grab his arms with my legs. He quickly goes for an Americana, and I am forced to tap to that even though it was super shallow. And yet, it doesn't help that it was my arm that popped earlier in the previous match, and he just went for that exact arm. So I was forced to tap. And if you want cool rash guards like me, make sure you check out X Martial. X Martial does a great job in supporting jiu-jitsu athletes with a whole bunch of quality fight wear. And if you aren't already following my Instagram or my TikTok, maybe it's now time to do it.